Welcome to the Explainer. So, have you ever felt like your AI chatbot is less of an assistant and more of a hall monitor? If that sounds familiar, you're going to want to hear about this. Today, we are diving into Venice AI, an alternative that's making some serious waves by promising something pretty radical: totally uncensored access and complete privacy. And let's just kick things off with a quote that I think perfectly captures that frustration. This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? That feeling of being managed or, lectured by the very tools that are supposed to be helping us out. And that feeling really highlights what a lot of people are starting to call the AI nanny problem. See, instead of empowering us, it feels like a lot of the big AI tools have started to coddle us, putting up all these digital guardrails on what we can think about and explore. So while big tech is out there building these digital padded cells, a completely different way of thinking is starting to pop up. It's an approach that's really built on the idea that, adults should be able to use professional tools without someone constantly looking over their shoulder.
This really breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got corporate compliance. That's where the AI's first job is to follow company rules. On the other side, user sovereignty. And there, the AI is just a tool. Plain and simple, it does what you tell it to do. One side collects your data, the other makes sure it belongs only to you.
So what's the alternative then? Well, this brings us right to the core philosophy behind Venice AI, which is built from the ground up on that second idea: user sovereignty. Okay, so here's the key thing to understand. Venice AI isn't really one single AI model, it's more like a gateway. It gives you direct, unfiltered access to a whole bunch of the world's best open source models, but, and this is the important part, without the corporate safety filters. And the backstory here is actually pretty fascinating. This wasn't dreamed up in some Silicon Valley boardroom. It was started by Eric Voorhees, who's a huge name in the crypto space, known for always challenging centralized power. He's basically taking that same playbook and applying it directly to artificial intelligence. So it all comes down to two really simple but incredibly powerful ideas. First, zero knowledge. That just means they never, ever see or store your data. And second, uncensored. The tool does what you ask it to, no questions asked, whether you're writing a dark sci-fi novel or debugging some really sensitive code. Now look, it's easy for a company to say zero knowledge, right? But how does Venice AI actually make that happen? Like, from a technical standpoint, how does your data really stay yours?
Well, it's done with this really clever three-part system they call the zero-knowledge stack. First off, all your chat history lives only in your browser. Then, your prompts get encrypted and sent out to a decentralized network, so no single company can ever piece them together. And finally, you don't even need to give them an email. You can just sign up with a crypto wallet. No permission needed.
And this right here is what makes all the difference. With other services, when you hit delete, who really knows where that data goes? With Venice, if you clear your browser's cache, poof, it is gone, like it doesn't exist anywhere in the universe anymore. Now that is what true data ownership actually looks like. Okay, so we've covered the privacy and the philosophy, but what can you actually do with all this freedom? Let's talk about the toolkit and see how this translates into real creative power. So inside the chat, you can explore all sorts of ideas that other AIs would just flat out refuse. You could have it write a hilarious debate between a pirate and a tech bro, or a gritty crime novel where the AI is the actual villain. You can even have it explain complicated stuff from a sarcastic point of view, all without getting a lecture. And this whole uncensored thing isn't just about words. It applies to the entire creative suite. We're talking top-of-the-line image generation and soon video generation, where your creative ideas aren't being filtered through some corporate policy. You get full control. All right, this all brings us to the final showdown, a head-to-head comparison. Because when you put Venice AI right next to one of the industry giants, the difference is, well, they become impossible to ignore. I mean, just look at this. The contrast is so stark in every single category. You've got local, zero retention privacy versus server-side data harvesting. No censorship versus high censorship. You get to choose from multiple models instead of being locked into just one. It's a completely different way of doing things. And hey, for anyone out there thinking that open source and uncensored must mean lower quality, think again. The DeepSeek model, which you can use on Venice, scores a whopping 98.4% on the MMLU benchmark, which tests general knowledge and reasoning. So the big takeaway here is that this isn't just about freedom anymore. It's also about getting absolutely top-tier performance. The open source models are so good now that they can match or even beat the big proprietary ones. So that whole debate about sacrificing quality for freedom, it's pretty much over.
So who is this actually for? Well, it's clearly built for professionals and serious creators. People who need to explore complicated or even dark ideas. Developers who just need raw, unfiltered logic. Researchers who have to analyze controversial topics. And really, it's for anyone who just believes that their data and their thoughts should belong to them, period.
And so, in the end, the choice really comes down to this one simple but powerful question. What do you actually want from your AI assistant? Do you want a tool that guides you and protects you based on its own rules? Or do you want a professional-grade tool that trusts you to use its power however you see fit? Your answer is probably going to shape your entire digital toolkit for years to come.